Hi guys, this is Little Red. I decided to try something new. I'm going to be vlogging. I'm sorry if it's not that good of a quality. I'm using my webcam. I started to run out of space on my phone. I couldn't record anything really anymore, and I was only getting maybe 5 minutes of record time. So, the reason I'm doing a vlog is I'm going to start writing an autobiography, and I wanted to share the story of my life on here, and it's going to be in parts because crazy things have happened throughout my whole life, and for the respect of people who have been in my life, I will change names, and if I start crying, I apologize. This is so I can have a basis of where my book will flow and help me, basically like my notes, but you get to experience a good portion of the book before I even write it. So this is part 1, and if you watch this, I appreciate the view, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hear my story. The name of my book is going to be A Tough Life Traveled. I think that's how I say it. Sorry, guys. This is the second time I've attempted to write it. The first time I started with a story that my mother had told me because I was an infant. I didn't know what had happened. No memory of it. But the second time I started it, I didn't put that part in there. The basis of that was that as an infant in my crib in the house, and my mom was in the backyard. We didn't have grass, so she was pouring gasoline into the ant holes and lighting them on fire. She thought this one hill wasn't lit, and she poured more gasoline in it, and up to the gas can, and she threw it, and it landed on the porch and lit the porch on fire in the backyard. And my brother had to run across the street and call the fire department, but my mom had it out before they got there. Yeah, she got yelled at. So I left that story out. I didn't feel it needed to be included in the second attempt to write my book. In fact, I've really enjoyed starting over. My detailing's gotten a lot better. And I'm going to grab my book right now. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. I'm not going to get into reading everything I've written because I'm going to be changing stuff after this first section. So I'm just going to read you the first section. Okay. Okay, bear with me, sorry. This is very tough, and on top of everything, I'm deciding to start this on a day I have a sinus cold. I'm still not over. I got it about 3 or 4 days ago, and it came from the high school. I have 2 teenagers in high school, and yeah, they brought it home, and it's like been the hardest day hitting me. Plus I had something bad happen last night, and that's another reason why I'm starting this, in case something happens to me. I could have been gone last night. I could have been killed by my ex's sister. Yeah, she's out for blood right now, so If you guys don't see any part 2, sorry. But anyway, here we go. Chapter 1. The air was warm as the sun rose one spring day in 1986 in Englewood, Colorado. A young girl of only 3 watched from the living room window, her blue eyes watering behind her blonde hair that fell on her little round chubby face, as her older brother walked out of view, heading for the bus stop. How could he leave without her, she thought, her eyes tearing as she sniffled and rubbed her nose. She looked back to the last place she could see him, hoping he would come back from behind the fence at the corner of the cul-de-sac. Her eyes quickly moved from the fence to a very large vehicle parked not far from it. She stared in wonder, curiosity engulfing her. What was it? She pondered, as she had never seen anything else like it. She was almost in a trance by it. The way the sunlight bounced off of its shiny metal made it difficult to look away. Mel, come here, she heard a deep, raspy male voice coming from behind her, breaking the trance from the vehicle. She took her time climbing down off the loveseat. After all, she was smaller than the average 3-year-old. When her little bare feet hit the carpet, butterflies started to flutter in her stomach, but being the good girl she was, fixed her little spring dress and headed in the direction of the voice that called her name. On the larger couch lay a man, covered by a blanket that she had never met before. She stopped before him. "There you are," he said, his tone full of excitement. "Aren't you just the prettiest little thing around?" His old, wrinkled eye looked her up and down. Her bad feeling was getting louder. Mommy wouldn't leave me without knowing that they were able to watch me. Can you do me a favor? You seem like a big girl. He smiles and takes one of her tiny hands in his. She looks into his face, meeting his gaze, but saying nothing. "It's okay. You don't need to be scared. I'm your Grandpa Kelly," he says softly. She smiles, noticing that his statement had to be true. His eyes were the same ocean blue as hers. She felt more comfortable and gave a soft nod. If only she had known the favor was going to affect her for the rest of her life. She would have never, ever nodded that day. How do I know? Because I was that girl. "That's a good girl," pulling her closer and lifting the blanket just high enough to pull her hand under. "I just need you to hold on to a pole for me until I say to let go." His hand positions hers around this pole that was warm and felt like rubber. Her heart raced. My heart raced. I looked away from him, hoping that I would soon be letting go when I felt my dress move and the touch of his fingers upon my inner thigh. I tensed up, but still did not look at him, just closed my eyes. "Okay," he said, and my hand let go and emerged feeling sticky. I ran from him, towards the stairs, hearing him yell, "Don't tell anyone, it's our little secret." Making it to my room, I didn't know how to feel, and quickly got lost playing with my toys. I didn't leave my room for the rest of the day, and when I did, my parents were home and my grandfather was gone. So I later found out in life that my Grandpa Kelly was a child molester, and I wasn't his only victim. My aunt, my brother, We're all victims. And my dad was adopted by his stepdad, and to him that is his dad. And he is nothing like his dad. My dad is a very, very sweet man who can lose his temper, but he's just a big teddy bear. You can't... None of this... The biggest thing that is hard to explain is that a lot of bad things happened in my life because I wasn't told about the evils of the world. I wasn't told or taught what to avoid. My parents were very, very hardworking people. They had their normal 9-to-5 job. And when I was little, they also did a paper route in the mornings. And sometimes me and my brother would go with them. And they also cleaned offices on the weekends. And we'd help. And they'd pay us like $2 to help. But that was a lot of money back in the 80s. They were very much into material, and didn't even realize it. That I didn't really want material things. I wanted them around. I wanted to be able to go to them with questions, but it was like trying to talk to strangers, and it never changed. It's still that way today. My parents have no idea what's going on in my life, and they have never wanted to sit down and talk about it or ask me. They do know about my Grandpa Kelly, in the next part I'm going to be telling, because I did tell my mom when I was 13. But I never told her anything else that happened. Another reason I'm doing this is because my mom is kicking me out again. And she is trying desperately to make it to where I have no communication with the world. I have no social life. Being here, I'm not allowed to have friends over. I have a list of chores I have to do every day. And pardon my language, but I always feel like Cinderella. Well, I usually say Cinderella because that's how it feels. Sorry. It's my daughter. Okay. I had sent them my 2 oldest kids. Oh, what was it? Okay. Sometimes my phone glitches and it'll say I got a message. But it's just repeating the message I'd gotten like a while ago. And you'll think that it's weird sometimes. I don't know. Anyway. So, I mean, we did fun things too. The materials wasn't so bad. We went to Disneyland that summer when I was 3. And I can still remember the Alice in Wonderland ride all the way through. And that I got stung by a bee at the front gate. My cousin was holding me, and my brother was standing right next to her, and I started screaming. And she turns to my brother, she's like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And he's like, "I didn't do anything, I swear." And I got to go, like, into the park, sitting on my mom's lap in a wheelchair, and went and met the, like, scene bears. And, it was funny because that's the strange thing you remember. You don't. You remember more things that traumatize you than you remember happy moments. Why I remembered the Alice in Wonderland ride was because the rest of my family, except for one person, and I think it was my cousin, the same cousin that was holding me when I got stung, took me on Alice in Wonderland, and the rest of the family went and rode the Matterhorn. And I just, that feeling of I wanted my mom. I wanted my dad. And I always got stuck with my brother, my cousins, my grandparents sometimes. But my mom's scary. I didn't want to be stuck with her either. Okay, so the next part is that, my parents were working a lot, so I had my best friend. We'll call her Alex. And she had, I think he was uncle, who was 18 when I was 6. And my mom would ask Alex's mom to babysit me, and if she couldn't do it, sometimes Alex's grandma did it, and then sometimes her uncle did it. And it was more her uncle would do it. And actually, I think he was 16 when I was 6. But my brother was 4 years older than me, so they were like closer in age, because my brother was 10. And so they would like hang out all the time, him and my brother. And let's see, what name should we give him? His name is ironic, so I kind of use it. Don't want to upset anybody. We'll call him sorry, this is really hard for me. Okay, Jason. Okay, that was his name. I'm not going to give you their last name, so his name was Jason. Friday the 13th. Anyway, when he would be watching me and Alex, he would put on soap operas. And if Alex wasn't around and he was just watching me, he would have us act him out. Even if that included kissing, intimate touching. I never saw his dick or anything like that, and I never was naked in front of him. But we did a lot of dry humping, to where, like, I didn't think it was something bad, because it actually was fun and enjoyable and pleasurable, and I was 6. I didn't know. Again, I had no idea. I didn't know it was bad, because I already experienced something like that with my grandpa. It went on for 4 years. He would, even if I spent the night over there at their house, because Alex was my best friend in elementary school, she had bunk beds, and he would make Alex sleep on the top bunk, and he would come to the room in the middle of the night and crawl into my bed with me on the bottom bunk. And like it was nothing. And nobody knew. And then one time, we were in his room. We were watching. We had MC Hammer playing. Can't touch this. Um, and my mom came to pick me up early, and found out I was in his room with the door shut. And that ended him babysitting me. Alex's grandma still did. Her mother still did sometimes. And the biggest thing I remember about them is that their car smelled awful. It's the one thing I remember, and it's like, why would I remember that smell? It smelled like urine or moldy, rotten eggs sometimes. I mean, it was just like, I hated going anywhere in their car. But they never smelled like that. The house never did. But the car always did. So, I mean, that was a big part of my life. I mean, at that time, me and my brother were into the Phantom of the Opera, and my mom had taken us to see it, and I got to wear this cute little black cocktail dress, and so we were trying to put it on ourselves as kids, and I was going to be Christine, and my brother was going to be the Phantom. I know I would have had to kiss him. And then our friends were going to be all the other parts, and I think Jason was supposed to be Raoul, and I'm glad it never happened. I mean, my mom even went through started making costumes and sets to do in our basement. Never happened. Luckily, she never really spent money. It was just stuff she had around the house. It was like so DIY, but she never really had the time to finish it either. And every time we tried to do rehearsals, only me and my brother would show up. So, to most of them. So, it flopped and went through the cracks. But I ended up utilizing what my mom had made, and I did a report on the Phantom of the Opera for school. And it was like, kind of like this. It was a video video that I recorded of myself, very little, in my little costume, telling the audience, or, telling my classmates what was going on in the play when the music was playing in the background. I got marked down a point because my mom had to say one line for me because I had to go to the bathroom. It was just like stupid. And it's just like, oh, come on. You know how long this play is? It's like, I didn't even do an intermission. I had to pee. But, oh well. Such is life. Anyway. Another part of that life was, my mom had gotten me a kitten. And I treated it like a doll. I didn't know. And I was trying to put it in a stroller. And it clawed me from here to my hip. And the only place it's scarred is actually right there, right in between my boobs. And, like a day or two later, I went to the basement to play with my kitten, and it wasn't there. My parents said, oh, I ran away. They even helped me make posters and tape them up when they had given my cat away. Another thing that happened was my mom's biological dad came and started living there, and he was handicapped. He had been in a 7-Eleven robbery when he was in his younger years, and he did everything the robber told him to do. And when he was laying on the ground, right before the robber left, he shot him in the back. So my grandpa was handicapped from the neck down. He could move his arms, but he couldn't move his hands. Like, his hands were stuck in a permanent position. And he constantly needed nurses and medical attention. We had to put in a lift and ramps and knew all of his nurses by name. I can't remember any of them now, so but it was crazy. Um, he had a dog. We had a dog. Our dog's name was Reggie. He was he was a crap. Same dog as Lassie. I can't remember what type of dog that is. And then my grandpa's dog, I can't remember what type of dog it was, but it was bigger. And I was more scared of that one. It wasn't a rot, but same colors. It was black and brown. But bigger snout. I don't know. Could have been a boxer. I don't know. When I was in elementary school at that house, I'd been out on the swing set one day, and my hands were all sweaty. And I was just on the swings, just swinging away. Good old time. I got this, I think, my freaking ex thought to be mean, like, snipped off some of my hair or keep it or something last night. Because I've got this hair now that sticks up in the front. It's driving me crazy. I swear I did. Look at that. It just sticks up. It never did that. I went to put my hair into a ponytail and I got this alfalfa thing going on in the front. Anyway, I got to the highest point on the swing set and my hands were all sweaty and I lost my grip. And I came down on my head and I blacked out. I think I was 7, maybe 8. And when I came to, like, every kid that was on the playground was around me. And I couldn't fully make out what they were saying because it was just, I was just trying to roll over because I was on my back and get to my feet. But I was having the hardest time doing it. And then, like, I could start to hear them and they're all, like, screaming, "Get the nurse, she's bleeding from her head." And I crawled on all fours over to the concrete rim that rims the playground. And the nurse came out, and by that time I was sitting on the concrete. She took me to the nurse's office. I should have gone to the hospital. I had a concussion. She had me lay on a pillow. She had me lay in the nurse's office. She called my mom, had my mom come get me, and my mom just took me home and put me in the bathtub to get the blood out of my hair. Sitting there waiting for the tub to fill up, and the dogs are coming into the bathroom and licking my head. I was like, something's not right about this. Growing up with an older brother and no other siblings, just the two of us, was one of the hardest things I had to do until I became an adult. If I wanted someone to play with, I couldn't really go anywhere because I was so young. I had 2 friends, I think, or no, 3 friends. I had one down the street, and her house scared me, and then she always had snails in the backyard, but she had a raspberry bush. I loved that raspberry bush. Ooh, I'd go over there and eat them all the time. I had a friend across the street, and of course my friend Alex, and she had a younger sister. And me and my brother, we had her so scared of my dad because my brother had told her that my dad was like a child killer. because they had guns, muskets, old style war muskets hanging on above the fireplace that they had gotten at this like thing they went to. It was like Indian teepees and Old West, and my dad and my mom. And we said, just don't ever make my dad angry. He'll put you in the basement. He'll shoot you with that gun and put you in the basement. Yeah, that's what my brother told her. So like she'd come up to my dad and she'd be like, Mama, Mr. and say our last name. And like he couldn't figure out why she was so scared of him. And I mean it carried on into her teenage years, because I stayed friends with them even after we moved out of that area, because they stayed there, so I knew where they lived. What else happened at that house? A lot of things, actually. My brother found it fun to chase me. If I wanted to play and he didn't, because he was older and he wanted to play with his older friends, I would pester him because I wanted attention. I was little. I needed somebody to play with. I wanted attention. I was tired of being alone. So I'd pester him to get attention, and he'd start chasing me around the house. So again, what I wanted, I got my attention. But he would pin me to the ground when he caught me, because I was a lot smaller and a lot younger. He was a lot faster. So I started to turn it into a game. I'd be like, let me up, I gotta go potty. Well, by about the fourth time of getting pinned down, you actually start acting that you gotta pee. You've been running around the house for a while, and they pin you down, and yeah, they sit on your gut, you know? Of course you're gonna have to pee. Well, he'd get so frustrated by that time. He'd say, you have to pee so bad, and then just do it. And I turned bright red because suddenly it was wet and hot under him. But he'll tell it as the pee went past his head. How is that possible? I'm a girl. For one, I don't have a penis. It doesn't point up. For two, his face is equal with mine. How could I pee? I don't know. But that's how he'll always tell it. And you can't tell him any different. And because that's how it is for him. That's how he remembers it. Okay? I mean, trying to sit there and explain to your brother all the time, hello, physics, it's not possible, bro. He's diluted his memory so bad, or changes it so much to make it funny, because that's what he likes. He's a comedian. He likes to try and be funny, so he tries to make people laugh. And he tells the lie so many times that to him it's the truth. So a lot of times, a lot of things he will over exaggerate, and a lot of things are lies, and people start to believe it, and it always makes me look bad. So a lot of things that my family, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, all on my mom's side judge me on is based off of lies. And none of them have ever come to me and asked me, hey, Mel, what really happened? What did you go through? What did you feel? I mean, I get scared if I peed my pants. I get scared if I did anything, because my brother was a kid, and he didn't know that being mean and physical to a little girl would matter, because it's his responsibility to take care of me. And what's weird is that it always ended up me taking care of him. Or me tied to a chair. That's right, you heard me. Tied to a chair. With rope. Dining room chair. And him running off with his friends. Well, he did that so much that I became a quite good escape artist out of this. And by the time he came home, I was always out of the chair, playing the Nintendo, or up in my room playing with my toys, watching TV. And he couldn't figure it out, how I kept getting out of it. So it became so neat to him that he would, like, have his friends come over and tie me up. And then they'd leave. And they'd come back like 2 hours later, and there I was sitting out of the chair, somewhere else in the house, in the backyard. And I was into my brother's toys because we always had to play what he wanted to play. So we'd play our like Hot Wheels cars. We made a Hot Wheels car city in my mom's strawberry garden when it was dead. I played that. My mom's very tomboyish too. She doesn't know how to do hair. She doesn't know how to do makeup very well. She doesn't, she always gets a shade of face that's too dark. She doesn't go get her nails done. She would rather wear suit pants than a dress. She's not really into high heels. The heels got to be really short. I'm stiletto. She always dressed me in baggy clothes. Nothing form-fitting, nothing. It was really weird. I got a lot of hand-me-downs from my brother. And it was just like, I'm a girl. I'm not a boy. I'm a girl. I want to be pretty like the other girls. I want to have my hair done. I want to do makeup. I want to play with Barbies. And I rarely had that growing up. And so I didn't get very many friends. And it's kind of weird because that's how it's so easy for me to befriend guys. I get way more guy friends than girlfriends any day of the week. And I don't know why. But I'm going to end part 1 here. I'll cover a little bit more of my life between the ages of 3 and 10 in the next one. Yeah, I think that's good for today. 40-minute video. But I appreciate whoever watches this, and it's going to get harder to talk, and it's going to get worse. And if you think that those two evil men in my life were bad enough, you have no idea what's coming next. And I'm only 34. So it's so bad. But I love you guys. All my subscribers. All 13 of you. And share this. Hit the like button. I'll do a video too. Part 2 either later tonight or tomorrow. So thanks you guys for listening. And this helps a lot. It's hard, but it helps. Bye.